Welcome, folks. This is Acid Roots, and I've got an album review for you in the form of Drake. So, I think a lot of folks have felt kind of like a Drake effect going on lately. His album Views has come out, and I think he sold 1 million in his first week, which is a feat not many have accomplished. Now, among these things with Drake albums is that they're usually a huge event, but the thing is are any of these albums considered rap classics? And I think in a lot of ways, the difference between it is this album like uh, Ready to Die by B.I.G.? And I think the answer is no, it's not. But in terms of like the 2010s decade and what this effect has had on R&B culture, rap, and culture, I think this is definitely an album that will be seen as a masterpiece down the road. It's gonna get a 10. It's definitely going to. But we're gonna talk mainly about the strengths that this album plays to. So in terms of like something that Tech Nine or Yellow Wolf or even in some cases Eminem, D12, and like Ritz would do, this album, no, it doesn't hold close to that any whatsoever. There's not. The only song I feel that really does that is Underground Kings and Make Me Proud. But if you listen to anything that some of these cats do, it's not in the same thing. But the way that this album works is it's kind of a fusion of R&B music and rap. But the best part about this fusion is that it's not from someone that nobody knows. Like you can think, oh, I love this R&B song, but there's just not any other songs besides the single that I like. Not so with Drake. Everyone knows who he is. Lots of women know who he is. He's always on the charts, and you don't have to worry about finding those hot songs from him. So that's kind of what is covered. Is this is just this is culminated music that says this is culminated music that is presentable, and this is good. This is definitely good. The main thing that I've seen this in is this is not daytime music. It's more when you're ready to settle down but you still have company. This is the kind of music that you go about with and live a more it's just a more personal album. That's the best way to put it. It's not as static. It's more behind the scenes more than in front of the scenes. It's not focused on being the life of the party. It's more focused on hooking and reeling. So that's really what you see. But obviously the women were in mind with this. That's the main focus. But that you have to look at this project and say there's just tons and tons of songs for hanging out. That's really what it. So many things. Just being in your house. Everything. That's what goes on this project. So, but there is music that attempts to kind of, do the standard rap thing, but you're going to notice quickly that these songs like Headlines and Make Me Proud, that's not its strengths. So, for what it is, being more behind the scenes, it definitely works out good. Yeah, so the production, that's what that leads me to. There's definitely songs like Underground Kings that have good beats, but mainly the singing songs are the ones that takes the most. That is where the spike of the project comes in, is in singing the songs where you can relax to. It's a different type of thing. It's more, I can't think of the word, but the way that the singing works are songs like Marvin's Room, Crew Love, Shot for Me, Doing It Wrong, Hell Yeah, Fucking Right. You know, these are songs that have a different approach than a rap song, and that's the R&B side of it. So these are the strengths of the project. That's the reason why this gets a 10, is because this is not something that has been done. But so it's really not as much the produce, but just the way that the songs are carried. So this is kind of a new theme. It was. We can say that it had a lot to do with, you know, making things smoother than they were a couple years before. So things turned out smoother in 2012, and I think this album may be at the root of that. So the songs that you need to hear, it'd probably be easier to list the songs that you don't need to hear. Really, out of 17 songs, which is there's no skits, I will say that I did not like 5 songs. So those 5 songs were Over My Dead Body, We'll Be Fine, Lord Knows, Cameras, and Practice. Other than that, you know, really, these songs that I was talking about before, where the singing is just going to infect you, well, obviously, you know, Headlines has a great hook, so does Make Me Proud, but a few of these, like Crew Love, Take Care, Doing It Wrong, Hell Yeah, Fucking Right, The Ride, Shot for Me, and I think that's about it. You know, that's 8 good songs where the singing just kind of stays in your head. And the reason why this is so important is just because if you look at November 2009 or November 2008 or November 2007, the difference was those albums were not taking this approach, and the way that this kind of infected and was contagious as far as getting people to play this album, not many rap albums had that effect going into the year next. And you know, I'd say it might have lasted into 2013, but it's contagious in the mind of a lot of female viewers. I think that that's a lot that had to do with it. Is they may not have been playing Paul Wall, but they might have been playing Drake, and that's one thing that you can notice pretty quickly. But I'm not saying that this music is bad. It's just a different approach. That's the one thing. If we are looking at in terms of like a hardcore rap album, no, this album is not a classic, but in what it did, it works extremely well. So it will get a 10. I mean, I guess I could give it a 9 because I like 12 out of 17, so I could give it a 9. I would give it an 8.5, but it'll get a 9. And that, you know, that's something to know. Drake just dropped Views, which is his newest album. That is the future. The Social Score, I'll give it a 10 just because there are so many singles. Lil Wayne is on this album, I might add. Rick Ross is here. The Weeknd is on here. So lots of folks. Nicki Minaj. So that's something to know. But once again, this album is 5 years old, but it's good in the sense of playing songs just for, you know, time has passed, but when time passes, we tend to forget about moments. It's too easy to slip through your fingers. So just remembering like 6 or 7 of these songs, it may not be as hip to play the whole album like we did 5 years ago, but I don't think, you know, picking a strong handful of these songs is going to be a bad look. So that's one thing to note. But, you know, the Social Score, like I said, is a 10, which is how well it plays around you and a group of friends. And that's it. So subscribe for more fun. I think this record cannot be topped. And that's it. 9 and 10 Social.